Here's my hot take. Some of the deepest intimacy that people experience after surgery happens when we stop trying to recreate our old sex life exactly the way it was before. So today, I want to talk about 5 ways to make love without penetration that can still create deep connection, affection, pleasure, attraction, emotional safety, and closeness after surgery, even if penetration or climax are not an option for you at this time. After a major body-altering surgery, we are not only fresh out of a massive medical procedure, which can affect our libido and make us feel protective of the lower areas of our bodies where the surgery took place. And it can sometimes even take 1 to 2 years before we start to feel ready for desire or intimacy again. But if we're in a relationship, we don't want to deny our lovers intimacy for 1 to 2 years, right? So some of the things I will talk about today, you can engage in during those 1 to 2 first years, and some of these things you might want to wait until you are fully recovered. And some of these things may not be possible for you, depending on your current circumstances. This episode is not meant to give you an exhaustive list of activities that you can engage in without penetration, but to get your creative juices flowing in a way that you will feel inspired to invite intimacy back into your life. I know how it feels to lose that feeling of being a sexual being or hiding parts of my body because I think my scars are hideous, or my missing belly button is hideous, or my ostomy bag is hideous. I went through those feelings and wondered if anyone would ever find me desirable again. But I'm here to tell you that not only was I able to get over my insecurities and my body shame, I was able to resume a healthy, intimate life with no anxiety entering intimate situations. And some of that required me finding solutions to my greatest fears, but most of it was a mental game and the willingness to take risks. Hopefully, this episode will help with some of your mental games and your willingness to take risks. Welcome to the Intimacy After Ostomy podcast. I'm your host, Trina Ricketts, the Intimate Ostomate. And today I'm talking about making love without penetration. So let's get into it. Number one is giving affection without expectation. I think this is one of the most healing forms of intimacy after surgery because sometimes people become afraid that every touch has to lead somewhere. But physical closeness without pressure can be incredibly powerful. Things like holding each other and skin to skin contact, naked hugs, gentle touch, loving words, being reassured, and being held. Because after surgery, you might feel anxious or self-conscious or disconnected from your body, which also can lead to a fear of rejection. Sometimes your nervous system needs to relearn that touch is still safe before you can fully feel pleasure again. Number two is making out, kissing and flirting and being playful. All the things people forget are actually a huge part of intimacy too. I think a lot of people accidentally reduce intimacy down to one simple act, when really desire starts so much earlier than that. Long kisses, laughing together, teasing each other, flirting again, feeling chemistry again, feeling wanted again. Surgery can sometimes make people feel less sensual and more medicalized. And rebuilding playful energy can help people reconnect with attraction, confidence, and their sense of desirability in such a healing way. And number three is pleasure through manual touch and exploration. So what does manual touch and exploration mean? It means use your hands. Touch your partner and learn their body because their bodies have changed too. We all live with changing bodies over time through surgery, illness, disability, aging, pregnancy, trauma, and intimacy can evolve too. One of the most intimate things two people can do is stay curious about each other's changing bodies instead of embarrassed. This can look like massaging each other's back or feet, using your nails on their back or their scalp, touching each other's face as you kiss, embracing each other, gentle tickling, only if it feels pleasurable, of course. And if you are ready, you can even use your hands to bring each other to climax or get really close and finish yourselves together. I'm just saying you don't need a penetration to enjoy the pleasures that hands or even mouths can bring. And number four is allowing yourself to receive pleasure and feel desirable again. This is one of the deepest emotional struggles people experience after body-altering surgery. Believing someone could still genuinely desire you, admire your body, want to touch you, find you attractive, and love you fully exactly as you are right now. That vulnerability can feel terrifying, honestly. But intimacy means allowing yourself to be seen and cared for and desired and emotionally safe again. If you're avoiding intimacy because of insecurities, you need to rip that band-aid off. To become truly comfortable with my body, I had to be naked in front of my lover repeatedly. His complete and obvious desire for me, even with my scars, no belly button, and bag, showed me that I was still desirable. But I had to be willing to receive pleasure and risk being naked in front of my lover. And I want to say that his obvious desire that he was into me or attracted to me or turned on by me, I'm not talking about an erection. Desire is something that I see in a person's eyes. You know, when they get a little hooded, you can just see the sensual desire in the eyes. That's why it doesn't ever make a difference to me if someone is struggling to get an erection. That doesn't make me feel bad if I can see the desire in their eyes. So don't worry about that when you're trying to show your lover that you're into them. And number five is redefining what intimacy looks like. Intimacy does not have to follow one script to be real. Penetration is not required, and for some, it's not even wanted. When two people are in love and feel attracted to one another, especially as we get older and we are not controlled as much by our biological sex drives as much as when we were young, we don't worry as much about whether we can have sex the old-fashioned way with the P and the V. We put more importance on companionship, friendship, love, emotional intimacy, and compatibility. If those boxes are ticked, we're unlikely to reject someone because they have to engage in intimacy in a different way. It does not have to look like anyone else's relationship, and it does not have to match your past exactly. And it does not have to be measured by one specific act. Intimacy can be eye contact, touch, laughter, mutual pleasure, emotional presence, affection, vulnerability, feeling emotionally safe with someone. It can even be kinky and passionate and include all kinds of rubbing against each other and trying new things. We do not need to depend on penetration for pleasure. Not to brag, but I can climax on my lover's thigh if I'm turned on enough. I don't need the P in the V to get off. It's actually the least easy way for me. The point is, you are allowed to create an intimacy style that fits your body instead of forcing your body to fit your old definition of intimacy. The truth is, we are human beings living with the human condition. If it can happen to humans, then it can happen to us. And having difficulties with penetrative sex happens to a lot of us, whether we've been through body-altering surgery or not. So don't allow this small thing to take away the beautiful experience of intimacy that you and your partner or potential partner deserve. And if you've been struggling to reconnect with intimacy, confidence, dating, touch, or your relationship with your body after surgery, you don't have to navigate that alone. This is exactly the work I do with people every day. I help people rebuild intimacy in ways that feel emotionally safe, authentic, connected, and empowering after ostomy and body-altering surgeries. So if this episode resonated with you, please feel free to reach out to me. I genuinely love to support you on your journey.